We're getting time reductions that will reduce time by up to 50% at certain Town Hall levels, making these the largest time reductions that Supercell has ever given us. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down building time reductions for several Town Halls, talking about hero time reductions and also pet time reductions. And I have you guys covered in terms of how the time reductions are going to affect how we use magic items and whether or not this update affects our philosophy on using magic items. Now before we begin, I'm just going to let you guys know that I'm only going to be covering time reductions from Town Hall 12 and above. This is because whilst there are some time reductions for the lower Town Hall levels, there really isn't that many of them. And to be honest, they aren't as significant as the ones that are at the higher Town Hall levels either. To begin, let's go over the Town Hall 12 time reductions. On screen right now, you guys can see all the time reductions that we're going to be getting during this Town Hall. I've already multiplied these specific time reductions by the number of buildings that we actually have, since we need to do that to get an accurate number for the total time reduction. As you guys can see, cannons and X-bows are making up a majority of the time reductions at Town Hall 12. Both are reducing the time by over 10 days, which is really great. This comes along with the army camp time reductions, which is over 15 days or 2 weeks of time reduction, which is really nice. Now in total, we are going to be saving 80 days worth of upgrades at Town Hall 12, as well as 55 million gold and 11.4 million elixir. Let's now move on to the Town Hall 13 time reductions. As you guys can see, the time reductions are on your screen, and once again, the building multipliers are accounted for, and they will be accounted for every chart in this video. The main time reductions that we have are the cannons and X-bows once again, as well as the wizard towers. And in terms of cost reduction, the hidden Tesla is receiving the biggest cost reduction compared to any other buildings in this Town Hall. In total, we will be getting 137 days less upgrade time at this Town Hall, as well as 229 million gold cut off from the cost. And in terms of elixir cost reduction, we aren't receiving any at Town Hall 13. This is probably because at this Town Hall and the ones after it, there isn't that many expensive elixir upgrades, so they probably don't want to balance that too much anyways. Moving on to Town Hall 14, we have some even bigger time reductions, which is crazy. As you guys can see in this chart right here, the Builder's Hut is receiving absolutely dumb time reductions during this time, but that makes sense since we have multiple levels of the Builder's Hut at Town Hall 14. The Wizard Towers will take a lot less gold to upgrade, which is fantastic in my opinion. And in total for Town Hall 14, we are saving a whopping 182 upgrade days, 262 million gold, and 6 million elixir. But moving on to Town Hall 15, it gets even more ridiculous, which is absolutely crazy. The chart right here shows us the crazy amount of time reductions that we are getting for Town Hall 15. The Builder's Hut and Giga Inferno see the biggest changes in terms of time reduction. The Inferno Tower has 19 million in gold cost reductions, the Wizard Tower has 32 million in gold cost reductions, and the Giant Bomb has 24.5 million in gold cost reductions. And thank goodness, because I don't know about you guys, but the Giant Bomb does not have to be this expensive to upgrade at Town Hall 15. After all, it is just a trap, so I'm very grateful for these reductions. In total at Town Hall 15, we have 207 upgrade days reduced, 372 million gold cut off, as well as 37 million elixir and 30,000 dark elixir. So wow, these changes are actually huge. But if you guys watched my upgrade prep video, then you know that I expected the largest reductions to be at Town Hall 15. Well boy, was I wrong, because we're about to see how crazy these Town Hall 16 time reductions actually are. As you guys can see from this Town Hall 16 chart, the numbers are actually crazy. We are seeing 28 days being cut off for the Giant Bomb upgrade time, as well as 26 days for the Seeking Air Mine upgrade times. Once again, I'm super grateful for this because I don't think traps should be that expensive or take that long to upgrade. We have lost 90,000 off of the Dark Elixir Monolith upgrade, which is actually pretty nice in my opinion. But for the numbers that you guys have all been waiting for Town Hall 16, we are receiving a total time reduction of 291 upgrade days, 306 million gold, 11.5 million elixir, and 90,000 dark elixir. These time reductions are much more significant than I thought that we'd be getting at Town Hall 16, or to be honest, at any of the Town Hall levels. And even though I just finished Town Hall 16, I'm really happy that these upgrades are in, because it's gonna help players get to the highest level a lot faster and to enjoy the game and its progress. Now this is nice and all, but these charts don't take into account the fact that we have 5 or 6 builders, or the percentage of time that we're actually getting reduced. That's why I made this chart right here that is on screen, which shows the total amount of build time that we had at each town hall previously. It does not include hero upgrade time, so this is something that you guys should be thinking about. But as you guys can see, in terms of percentage, we are getting a total of over 50% of building time alone reduced at Town Hall 16. And if we look at the other town halls, it follows this type of trend. At Town Hall 16, if you have 5 builders, you will be saving 48 days of time, which is literally a month and a half, and that is an absolutely insane amount of reduction. So the new Town Hall 16 upgrade guide that I said that I will make now is going to be banging because it's going to have all of these time reductions included. Once again, I find it really crazy that these time reductions are actually real, but I'm very grateful that they introduced them. Moving on from the buildings, let's go ahead and talk about the heroes, where I will only be discussing the time reductions and not the cost reductions. This is because the Dark Elixir costs have really minor changes that would take absolutely forever to add up, so I'm not going to be doing that. Let's go ahead and see the time reductions for the Barbarian first. On screen right now, you guys can see that there's basically nothing to work with in terms of time reductions. Although we really appreciate any time reduction, 7 days is not going to change that much, which is a little unfortunate. In the next chart, we are looking at the Archer Queen and her time reductions. As you guys can see, a little bit more time reductions than the King, but still nothing too much to be excited about. Moving on to the Royal Champion, we can see that we have a decent amount of time saved with about 3 weeks of time reductions. This is a little awkward since the Royal Champion already has less upgrade time than the King and the Queen, but any reductions, especially big ones, are really appreciated. But guys, where it hits really hard is when we look at the Grand Warden time reductions. Now, for some reason, Supercell decided to completely nuke his upgrade times and reduce it by a lot. I mean, close to 2 months of time reduction is a lot, and a lot of players are going to be able to get him to a lot higher of a level really fast. In my opinion, I think they implemented this because the Grand Warden as a hero by himself is actually pretty bad. I mean, with his equipment he's good, but by himself he doesn't do that much damage, so maybe if we can get him to a higher level faster, it'd be better. Now let's go ahead and go over the pet time reductions. Once again, we won't be covering the cost for the pet time reductions for the same reason as the heroes. There's simply too many levels and it'll take way too much time. But as you guys can see in this chart, every pet except for the Angry Jelly and the Spirit Fox got time reductions. And we got a crazy amount of total time reduced at 113.5 days. I think this was a much needed change because if we want to be versatile with the pets that we have and the attacks that we use them in, then we need to be able to upgrade them a lot faster. Next up, let's talk briefly about the lab reductions. We have a ton of lab reductions across a ton of town halls and a ton of levels. However, due to time and resource constraints, I simply cannot analyze them. I would have to spend another whole day for the lab reduction analysis, and with all the brand new content that is coming out, I don't think that's reasonable. However, I will be looking at the Clash Ninja website for the lab values, and I think you guys should as well. He will be looking at the API data to get fully accurate numbers, so this is something I would highly recommend if you want to know what the lab reductions are like. But now let's move on to the conversation that most of you have probably been waiting for, and of course I'm talking about the magic items. Because of the significant changes that we've received, does that change the philosophy of when we use our magic items or not? For a bit of context, last year we used to use our magic items on 14-day upgrades, but once the time reductions came in, we actually started using them on 12-day upgrades. However, this year the priority for the magic items does not change. This is because if we stick to 12 days, that is still the point where a lot of upgrades are getting a lot longer than their previous level. Plus, we also have to take Town Hall 17 upgrades into consideration, where a lot of those upgrades are going to be either 15 or 16 days long and around that range. So for me, it seems reasonable if we keep our magic item threshold at upgrades that are longer or equal to 12 days for maximum progression. But this year marks some of the biggest time reductions we've seen, if not the biggest already, and that's why it's really nice for players to be able to skip past all of their upgrades no matter what Town Hall level they're at. And the whole point of progressing fast is to get to that new content faster at a later Town Hall, so I'm really grateful for these time reductions. But if you don't know the details of the newer Town Hall, well, you're gonna be missing out on all the things that you could be doing once you get there. That's why you need to watch this video right here, which not only shows you some of the new content that's coming out for Town Hall 17 in just a few days, but also my analysis for them and how to be ready for everything.